everyone. So today we'll be looking at text-based instructions. So before we move on deep into the text-based instruction, let's look at some of the table content we will be covering in this. So first we will talk about what is TBI, the principle of TBI, theory of language and learning, different roles within TBI, as well as the procedures, the 5 phases. So what is text-based instructions? Text-based instructions is also known as TBI in the short form. People may also call it as gerund-based instructions. It is based on the idea that communicative competence really means mastering the ability to use and understand different types of text. So text here doesn't really mean the written text, but it means about the structured sequence of language that we use in specific contexts in a specific ways. So here are some of the very important principles that we need to know. First, grammatical features and structures of the text are taught explicitly. Second, the spoken and written texts are linked according to their use in the social and cultural context. Thirdly, the designing units of work which focus on developing skills in relation to the whole text, meaning you view the text as a wholeness. And during developing the skills, it's important to provide students with guidance and practices. So for example, imagine that you are listening to a podcast, viewing it as a whole. There's always a way that you begin, a way that you continue during the process, and also a way that you are making a conclusion at the end. So here are some of the types text we can be looking at. So for example, procedures. For example, how are you going to carry out a task? Explanations. How are you going to explain the how and why things happen? And also can look at the expositions. For example, how you're going to write a review, arguments, or debate.
So we'll be moving on to the theory of language. So in the text-based instruction or the TBI, that's the theory of language is to identify and classify the characteristics of each gerund. So remember, gerund is the key point and the most important element in TBI. Is to order, to facilitate and accelerate students' familiarity with gerunds, which enables them to understand diversity and the dynamics of their linguistic and structural components and use them simultaneously. And secondly, language as social semiotic, which communication occurs when the text is meaningful to the learners or the listeners, as the every text has a communicative purpose such as describing, explaining, recounting, and so on. And thirdly, we have the centrality of the text. So in TBI, the text is the center of the text-based instruction, and under normal circumstances, that someone communicates because they have something in their mind. So in order to convey the meanings, they need to choose the words and structure them to convey the meanings to more accurately. Any communication starts from the meaning system to language system and process to expression. And in the theory of learning in TBI, facilitated by explicit knowledge of language. Unlike implicit knowledge, the learning and knowledge can be described and explained. As students, they are able to explain and verbalize. And secondly, facilitated by the study of authentic models and examples, which students, they are presented with authentic examples, just what we have seen on the table of the text types, with different text types to present and to share it on. And thirdly, applied with scaffolding, as teachers they plays the role in providing the example of text type and lead the students in analyzing the characteristics and the features of the text type. Then they create a similar text before they proceed on creating their own text. And let's look on the roles for TBI. In the learner's roles, They learn through support and guidance from the teachers, and they act as a passive role in the lesson, which they follows what the teacher did and what does the teacher provide the guidance. And they also have using the Vygotsky learning theory, which the students they learn through cooperation skills and guidance until they are fully independent and they without any support from others. And for the teachers' roles, they're developing syllabus based on different students' level and ability to ensure the students they are able to learn efficiently. And they provide suitable texts as the basis of the lesson and modeling process in deconstructing and constructing texts. In the materials role, they provide spoken and written text as examples for the lesson, and the teachers could prepare model text to highlight the discourse and language features of particular text type. And finally, the students generated the text is also used in TBI for assessing the learner's learning.
Now we'll look into the procedure of how TBI is done. Please keep in mind that within procedure, these procedures can be done over one whole lesson or over several different lessons. Also, these 5 different phases I'll be going through can be referred as teaching and learning cycle. So FEES has suggested 5 different phases when it comes to teaching TBI. The first phase is building the context, which is to introduce the social context of an authentic model of a text type being studied. The second is to explore features of the general cultural context that the type text is used. And the third is to explore the immediate context by investigating the register of molded text that is selected on the basis of course objectives and learning needs. We'd like to also look into what the exploration of register involves. It involves the building knowledge of the text topic as well as a social activity when the text is used. It also understands the roles and relationships between the text and when the people are using the text. And also it requires to know the channel of communication that's being used. Next, please. Phase 2 involves the modeling and deconstructing the text. So basically, in a sense, if you think in a normal class, it's when the teacher is explaining about the lesson, or in this case, explaining about the text. So it investigates the structure patterns and the language features, comparing the text with similar texts. Phase 3 is joint construction of the text. This is when there will be more of classroom interaction between teachers and students. And also keep in mind, this is when students will start to contribute more in the whole examples of the text type, when the teacher's contribution will decrease. Phase 4 is when the independent construction of the text starts. It is when the student's contribution will be 100%, meaning that there'll be zero or very none of teachers' intervention when the activity is going on. That are used here will be the achievement assessment. Phase 5 is linking to related text. So this is when the students will investigate how and what they have learned between the teaching and learning cycle, which is the TALC, and related to the other text or the future and the past cycles of the teaching and learning.